Here's the second vlog. I'm still drunk from New Year's last night, which just doesn't make sense because this vlog is gonna be like a week and a half from now. We're going to Jack's office, and he's actually gonna be here this time with Timmy. I hope we can just have the little cartoon on there, Cartman or whatever, saying Timmy. Timmy! Rolling out, top down.
What are we doing here?
I don't know, what are you?
We're here to talk about the podcast because I need vlog content. Remember, we were at lunch and I said we can't talk about the podcast, but we talked about the podcast.
How many times are you going to say the word podcast?
Podcast? Podcast. Look at Tim, parked like a fucking idiot. He's literally beyond the yellow line.
Is this where we're going to do the podcast?
I don't know. Jordan, did you buy equipment?
No, we literally just found it yesterday.
What is the equipment?
It was days ago. You said it was $650 and you were going to buy it all. That was like 4 days ago.
It was literally yesterday when Chris and I found the equipment. I mean, I'll buy it, but we have to actually do the podcast.
I think that we need to make a list of topics that we're going to discuss on our podcast.
How many?
150.
150 topics.
And then every day when we do our podcast, we just randomly pick one.
I think
Who will listen? Will you listen to a podcast if we do a podcast? The three of us just talking.
If you are interested in listening to our podcast, click like below and subscribe.
When do we want to do the podcast?
Once a month.
No,
Nighttime?
weekly.
But I think nighttime's consistent.
How about we do it like
Thursday
4 o'clock?
No.
No, that 4 o'clock's the worst time.
It would be at 8 probably.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
All right, so when are we gonna start it?
Did you buy the equipment like we asked you to?
Go to Best Buy right now.
What'd you price up, Jordan? 3 microphones?
Yeah, we priced
Stands?
3 microphones. I have 2 stands, so we only need 1 stand.
What kind of blog did you put?
Go on.
I feel like I should film myself a little bit.
I'll bring it to mine.
I know, it's cool.
The lighting over for you?
What?
No, it's
you
good.
want microphones that are like attached?
No, we don't want that. We don't want lapels. But so the stands are ones that connect to the
Take
table.
your fucking laptop.
Yeah, no shit. Why don't we just go buy his computer?
We're gonna get some Jordan's lighting. He didn't like how he looked at the vlog. Let's get him some professional lighting.
This thing's gonna blind
Oh,
me.
you have a blue microphone?
I don't have it.
Hey, wait.
I don't know where it's at.
Oh, you almost killed me, Jack.
Yeah, I don't like it. They're not really as bright.
It's
I
even
want to just
brighter.
go get the podcast stuff so we can at least test it out and try it and see how it goes.
So when are we gonna record?
I'm impatient.
So am I.
Should I just close the door and lock it?
Can. I do not have a key for it.
No, we don't want any.
Do you like want to see me hop the wall? I feel like I could hop this wall, no problem. I'm more worried about me jumping it perfectly and then running into the computer.
You think you can straight up jump the wall?
No.
No.
You use your hands.
Yeah.
He's gonna end up rolling over it.
That's what I'm gonna do, yes.
Oh my god. What? Oh my god, I feel like the floor is gonna cave in.
Hey.
It felt like it. Thanks, Jordan.
Getting ready for the podcast.
Fucking live, boys.
Podcast. 3 guys in a podcast. We were all supposed to do it.
So wait, did this thing actually start?
Yeah, we're live, man.
Oh, we're not live.
No, we're live.
We're as live as it gets.
We'll probably tell the listeners who we all are.
We're not
Tim,
gonna do
Jack,
that
Jordan,
every time.
we're all here. You'll figure it out.
Present.
So,
Yeah.
a few days, was it a few days after?
Yeah, it was like the next day, I thought.
No, it was a couple days. Anyway, a couple days later, we were at my office. Jordan and I decided to send the pilot out to a random number. And they never responded. They didn't say good, bad, otherwise. I'm hoping it wasn't some random kid and they listened to that thing. We got all our equipment. We went last week and bought some equipment. And we're all set up. It sounds real good. Listen, we're all equal partners.
We all win. We all win.
We did all go. So we're gonna talk about network groups. Tim and I are involved in a lot of different network groups. You're basically just making a bunch of other friends that are just like Tim and I who send everything your way.
You built relationships with them, and when the time comes for the local bar down the road to revamp things or get new menus drawn up, or to get the insurance guy down the road who is switching companies, a new website, or the lawyer down the road who's finally got enough business to create something, like you built natural relationships with them.
I think there's this hard balance. Like one's like, hey, you can spend 6 months to a year going to network group after network group to build relationships to grow your business, which I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm sure it works, but it's a long-term plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's good network groups and there's bad network groups. You just gotta make sure you're going to the right ones. And I mean, I think sometimes the ones that are all about sales aren't necessarily the best ones. Some of the best ones are the ones where it's more about, like we said before, kind of developing those relationships. If somebody came up to you, and this kind of actually just recently happened, so I'd be curious to hear you guys' feedback. If somebody came up to you guys and said, hey, I'm looking to start a new business, what do I do? You know, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out with a business?
Depends a little bit on the business.
Let's just say business to consumer.
Having a really good functional website right out of the gate's probably huge. A lot of that stuff takes a little bit of money and capital. I don't think you need to have $100,000 when you're starting any business, but you're definitely going to want room to not feel pressured. It's going to take a little bit to get sales, and you need to invest right away, right out of the gate, to do some of the things that are important to your business.
I think that it's going to be a mix of how much money do you have, how much time do you have. You know, you can usually outwork what you need to invest. There's free website builders that give you at least somewhat of a presence, and then you're going to go door knocking or whatever it takes. You could do that. And like you guys said, if you have time, you could join the 5 or 6 networking groups and get your name out there quick. It just depends on the business, but I'd say online presence.
For me, I would probably start with the Facebook page. Now Facebook has more of like an e-commerce thing as well, so you can buy products right on there. That's a cheaper alternative to a website for somebody that doesn't necessarily need that web presence. I think that's a great way to start pushing products right away.
I think with anything in business, it's like working out. The goal is to do something positive and productive every day.
Thanks for watching. That was a little bit from our podcast. Next week, we're going to talk about marketing and a little special thing that we're going to be posting, and hopefully we'll be live next week. But going back to the podcast, hopefully Jack will actually have this stuff together, and we'll be able to post links to the podcast. Excited for you guys to see it. Can't wait to check it out, but it'll be live soon. 4-2.
Chris is trying to spin this shit to go, man, because it's going to be some garbage footage.
It probably will. Now it's all blurry. To optimize.
But understand, why am I holding it?
Why? It is on autofocus. Oh my god. Look it. Tap him. It doesn't do anything.